Welcome to adding interactivity to your APL. I'm Greg Bulmash, a solutions architect with the Alexa developer education team, and I help developers learn how to create Alexa custom skills or make their existing ones better. Over the next 20 or so minutes, we'll mostly cover concepts at a semi-high level, but I'll also show some code. The great thing about this being on video is you can always go back to the on-demand version to review parts you may think I sped through. In fact, if you're watching this on YouTube, you can even use the gear icon under the playback bar to adjust the playback speed and slow me down. Whether it's through an Echo Show, Fire TV, Kindle Fire tablet, or one of the many partner TVs, tablets, PCs, and more, with Alexa built in, millions upon millions of Alexa customers are using devices with screens. And we've been discovering that when good skills are combined with good visuals, they can deliver customer engagement significantly greater than the skills with voice alone, like multiples greater. Multimodal means what you think. Multi, more than one. Modal, ways or methods. With multimodal skills, you utilize more than one way of communicating with your customers. I'm going to show you how to use voice and visuals to deliver information, and I'm going to show you how to use voice and touch as a method of receiving it. This talk assumes that you've at least built a basic skill like our cake time tutorial and understand concepts like intents and handlers. If you haven't, you'll still be able to get some of the concepts, but some of the technical implementation details may fly past. One of the things we'll look at as we walk through our demonstration skill is how visuals and voice combine to reinforce each other and create a better experience. Each one would work on their own, but when you add them, the effect multiplies. For example, this slide. If you had the audio off, you'd get the idea of what I'm saying. And if you had to look away from the screen with the audio on, you'd get what the slide is saying. But like Wonder Twin powers, the combination of my voice on this slide make each other stronger. Alexa, please open Action Demo.
Welcome to our interaction demo. Say cheese to start.
See, that's fine. It's clear, it's easy to understand, but what if we added some visible text? Open Action Demo.
Welcome to our interaction demo. Say cheese to start.
See, this is a super simple template. We've basically put 2 lines of text on the screen, but it makes a difference. Alexa spoke 10 words, which we strengthened with 3. If someone missed the audio, they'd know what to do. If someone didn't see the visual, they'd know what to do. As well, the brevity of the visual makes things feel slightly more fun and informal than the audio alone would. Let's see if we can improve that. Open Action Demo.
Welcome to our interaction demo. Please say cheese or tap the cheese demo button.
See, now I've added in a pleasant background, a bit more fun with the language, and a button. Like before, our customer can simply say cheese, but if they're within arm's reach or using a device that allows clicks like an Echo Show or the Alexa for PC app, they can click or tap the button. If tapped, it will change to say cheese selected, and then the next screen will load. Let's look at how that happens.
Welcome to the cheese demo. Tap a button or say next, or back to review our cheeses. Gouda is a mild-flavored, yellow cow's milk cheese originating from the Netherlands.
Now I've added in a pleasant background, a bit more fun with the language, and a button. Like before, our customer can simply say cheese, but if they're within arm's reach or using a device that allows clicks, like an Echo Show or the Alexa for PC app, they can click or tap the button. If tapped, it will change to say cheese selected, and then the next screen will load. Let's look at how that happens. Now I'm going to pull out smaller sections of code to look at functionality. To see the full code for this demo skill, go to alexa.design/marchapltalk. There you'll find the skill JavaScript and the APL JSON that makes this work. The JavaScript for this is actually fairly simple. We set a string for what Alexa will say, load the JSON document containing our Alexa presentation language. Then if we detect we're on a screen device, we add the render document directive to the response builder for the document we just loaded. Of course, the APL is a smidge more complex. This is a relatively simple document with a dark blue background here at line 6, and in lines 8 through 12, we import the Alexa Layouts package to get access to the responsive button component we'll use later. If we scroll through the construction of the document, a couple of nested containers and text elements, and we get to the button, lines 50 through 84. We'll set the Alexa button type on 51 here, and then we'll set the button's ID on 57. And you're like, you've lost me. How do I find out more about the button? What are all these properties? Well, you can't see it now, dear friends, but there's that package I told you to check out at alexa.design/marchapltalk. You'll find links to the documentation for the things I'm talking about here. So right, line 58, the primary action. This is the thing that makes the magic happen. We've given it an array of actions to take when it's clicked. First, send event. This will send an event back to our skill code with some information about the event, including an array of arguments that contains the word cheese. Next, it's changing the value of the button's text to cheese selected, and changing the look of the button to disabled, and changing the button style so you know it's been good and pressed. Now, back to index.js, because if we send the event, it needs a handler. As you remember, the skill says to say cheese or press the button. So the demo type intent is being handled here, and it would be invoked by the word cheese or cheese demo or let's try cheese. And we set up a standard intent handler, and we do the standard can handle for that. But we add lines 50 to 52 as an or clause, where we're also handling a user event that's coming from a source of cheese button. This is when the button is clicked. So we head down to 60, and we'll load both our cheese demo main and our APLA intro doc. APLA, again, is Alexa presentation language for audio. And we'll put our cheese's data here in a variable called doc data. Now, we head on down to line 76, and this is where we add our first directive. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to add two important things. One, the token, demo doc. We'll use this later to target this document for messages telling it needs to change. Hey, you need to change. Okay, it's not like criticism, but more working like a single page application. At 80, here, we add a data sources object, which will be used to fill in the cheese information. Then we'll add another render document here at line 89, but this time for an APL for audio document, which will read us the cheese information after the content switches. Now, you may have noticed it's outside the if this device supports APL block, because APL for audio is rendered server-side and works on devices with or without screens to allow you to create rich audio experiences for all your customers. I know. Boom! Mind blown. The last thing we'll do is check if you've been here before and change our greeting based on that, because people like a little recognition. Then we'll save this session attributes. Why do we do that? Because you can't control what people will say. When we look at the next screen, they'll only have next or back buttons to tap. but they could say cheese and come right back here, basically reinitializing the cheese page. But we'll say welcome back, not welcome. Okay, this has been a lot of code. Let's see how this works before we go for some more. Let's click the cheese demo button.
Welcome to the cheese demo. Tap a button or say next, or back to review our cheeses. Gouda is a mild-flavored, yellow cow's milk cheese originating from the Netherlands.
Now, I can click a button or say the word on a button, and the APL will not refresh with a whole new screen. Like a single-page app, it will simply swap out some content. Let's click Next.
Brie, a soft, buttery cheese from the Brie region of France, was once used to pay tribute to the king.
Now I'll use a voice command. Next.
Flocks of feral sheep roam near the Cheddar Gorge caves from which this orange cheese gets its name.
I'm going to ask you to trust me that if I click Next again, it'll loop back around to Gouda. And if I click Back, we'll go back to Brie. Plus, I'll show you the code that does it in just a minute. We'll look at three things. Our APL for audio document, because it's way shorter than you might think. Then our APL document for the page. Then the magic of how we make it update without reloading. But first, a word from our sponsor. alexa.design/marchapltalk, your one-stop shop for the code in this demo, so you can read it at your own pace and not have me racing through it, which I do because your time is valuable. So let's look at our APLA document. It's 17 lines. That's including the nice spacing and a couple of lines for comments. Now, the important lines are 8 through 15. If you remember the JavaScript just a few minutes ago, we sent a data sources object along with the document containing all our cheese information. 8 to 10 here, simply assign that object to an object called payload, which we're then able to use right here on line 14, data binding the body text about kings or sheep into the line Alexa will speak. Here in the cheese demo main.json file, you notice a few things. I've imported the Alexa layout package in 6 through 11. Then, down at line 24, I'm able to use the Alexa detail layout template, which has 2 buttons with an image to the right. I simply copy the data it needs out of our documentation. Lines 24 through 36, I just copied. Then I did some creative editing. I added an ID here on line 25 so I could address the template programmatically. Updated some text here on 28 and 29 to make it unique, and then changed the text in lines 32 to 34 to data-bound variables so I could update them from the skill code. Where did I find those lines to copy, you ask? In our APL documentation. And where can you find that link? Well, don't tell anyone. But I hear if you go to alexa.design/marchapltalk, you might find it in the README file, along with other useful links. And now, the JavaScript. Let's walk through some items in our index.js. Our can handle only has one instance for the next back intent in 121 through 123 because it will transmit either value when spoken. But we need separate cases for the user event, and this time we're looking for the arguments of cheese next or cheese back instead of the button IDs. I'll use that again in 137 through 142 to check if we're moving forward or backward. Note how I'm checking if the request has a property named intent or one named arguments. I do that because I have to know whether a button click or a voice event came in, so I'm not looking for important info and variables that aren't there. JavaScript doesn't like that and will break your skill if you look for a slot value in a user event. We get the cheese data from our array of cheese information, but this time for the directive at line 162, instead of telling it to render document, we have it execute commands. This is where the magic happens, people, because we use the same token from the directive that was used when we first loaded the document The system knows those commands are meant for it. And because I added that ID to the template, we can still set values for its properties. We add a new directive to render the APLA with the latest cheese info, and we're good. So let's see that in action one more time. So I'm going to click the back button.
Gouda is a mild-flavored, yellow cow's milk cheese originating from the Netherlands.
See, the back button works. There's value without the visuals, but they make the experience better. And with the interactive elements, you can provide your customer with an experience like a single-page application using voice or touch. So let's look back at our agenda. We learned that visuals enhance the customer experience, complement the voice experience, and increase customer engagement and retention. We learned how to think multimodally, how to make magic with a button, how to use both voice and touch interactions to give our customers choice and flexibility, and how to make an Alexa skill that has the experience of a single-page app. And before we go, get the code here. Seriously, open another browser tab right now and load this URL. I'll wait, because your time is valuable, and if you don't download the code, you will not get the maximum return on your investment here today. But wait, there's more! I couldn't get away without doing a Billy Mays reference. If you're an Alexa developer or thinking about building with Alexa, I recommend checking out alexa.design/Slack. This is a Slack community for all types of people who are building with Alexa. This is a community with Alexa product teams, support teams, and global developers and designers. It's a great place to connect. Go, check it out, talk Alexa, ask questions, have fun, meet other developers. Enjoy yourself. Wait, we've still got a little bit more. I hope you've learned something in this Tech Talk or have been inspired to. As always, this session was developed to help you build with Alexa and ultimately to enable our customers to have better Alexa experiences every day. We've created a survey that you can click on in the chat window to give us your feedback on how we did today, what you think about this content, and what we can do better in the future. If you're watching this on YouTube or on demand, please take a couple of minutes to give us your feedback at the link. Help us get better, help us serve you better, and help you get better content. Thanks again. Really appreciate you being here. In the words of Bill S. Preston and Theodore Ted Logan, be excellent to each other.